There once lived a young man named Aaron, a quiet, humble soul who worked tirelessly at a small mechanical workshop on the edge of town. His hands were always covered in grease, his shirts worn thin, and his shoes carried the dust of long, thankless days. Yet inside his heart burned something most people around him could not see. A dream, a sense that he was meant for more. Every day, he fixed engines, replaced parts, and cleaned the floor while his boss barked orders and customers barely acknowledged his name. He was invisible, or at least that's what he had come to believe. Aaron had joined the workshop right after high school. He wanted to become an engineer one day, but life had its own plans. His father fell ill, the family's savings disappeared in hospital bills, and Aaron dropped out of college to work full-time. He promised himself it was only temporary, but weeks turned into months and months into years. Slowly, the fire in his eyes began to fade. He convinced himself that this was his destiny, to serve others quietly, to survive, not to live. One chilly morning, the workshop's old owner, Mr. Randall, called everyone together. "We're expanding," he announced with pride. "And to help with the new workload, I've hired a few more mechanics." The new recruits were younger, louder, and more confident. They made jokes, took selfies, and talked big about dreams. At first, Aaron smiled at them, thinking maybe they'd bring some energy into the dull routine. But within weeks, he noticed something changing. The new boys got the easier jobs, the compliments, and even small bonuses. When customers came in, they were directed to them, while Aaron was left with the dirtiest, hardest tasks. One evening, Aaron stayed late to finish fixing an old truck that everyone else had given up on. The engine had been declared dead, but he refused to leave it that way. He worked alone under the dim workshop light, his fingers bleeding, his eyes heavy, his stomach empty. At midnight, the engine roared to life. The vibration shook the walls, and Aaron smiled, a deep, silent smile that came from the soul. But when he told Mr. Randall the next morning, the man only nodded and said, "Good job," before turning to praise the new boys for washing a few cars. That was the day something inside Aaron broke. Not from anger, but from realization. He began to see that no one would ever value him more than he valued himself. He had spent years waiting for someone to notice his worth, but he had never truly recognized it himself. He was waiting for approval from people who didn't even care about him. The next few days, Aaron did something different. During lunch breaks, instead of sitting in the corner eating from his old lunchbox, he began studying. He borrowed books about car design, modern engine systems, and business management. He watched online tutorials late into the night. He stopped complaining. He stopped expecting. He started preparing. He started believing. A few weeks later, one of the new boys, Mike, accidentally broke a customer's car part and blamed Aaron. Mr. Randall didn't even ask questions. He shouted at Aaron in front of everyone, saying, "You're getting old, son. Maybe it's time you find something else to do." Those words hurt, but they also freed him. That night, Aaron went home and stared at himself in the mirror. For the first time, he didn't see a failure. He saw a man who had carried his family when no one else could. A man who had worked through pain, humiliation, and exhaustion, and still kept going. He realized he didn't need validation. He needed courage. The next morning, Aaron walked into the workshop with his head held high. He handed his resignation letter to Mr. Randall. The man smirked, thinking Aaron would come crawling back in a week. But Aaron smiled calmly and said, "Thank you for reminding me of my worth." Then he left. At first, it was hard. The bills piled up, his savings were small, and his mother worried. But Aaron had a vision now. He rented a small garage behind an abandoned gas station and put up a hand-painted sign that read, "Aaron's Garage, built with honest hands." He started by fixing bicycles, then small cars. His first few customers were friends who trusted him. They told others. Slowly, word spread. People said, "That man doesn't just fix your car. He fixes it like it's his own." Months passed, and the little garage became a small workshop. Then it became a known repair spot for miles around. The same customers who once ignored him at Mr. Randall's place now waited in line for his service. One day, as fate would have it, Mr. Randall himself drove in with his broken truck. He didn't even recognize Aaron at first, standing tall, confident, wearing clean overalls with his own name embroidered on them. When he did realize, his face turned pale. "Aaron, you made it?" Aaron smiled and replied, "No, sir. I didn't make it. I just stopped letting others decide my value." The silence that followed said everything. Mr. Randall offered him a handshake, but deep down, Aaron knew that wasn't the victory. The real victory was the peace he felt inside. The feeling that he no longer needed to be seen to feel worthy. He had built something with his own hands, his own mind, and his own belief in himself. Months later, Aaron began mentoring young mechanics who had been treated the same way he once was. He told them, "Don't ever wait for someone to see your worth. People can't see what you hide. You must believe it first, live it, and let your actions speak. The world won't value you until you value yourself." His words touched hearts because they came from a place of truth. Aaron's story became more than a tale of success. It became a lesson. It spread through the town, then through local newspapers, then online. People began calling him the mechanic who fixed more than engines. He fixed spirits, he fixed confidence. He fixed lost dreams. And you, and the one listening to this story, maybe you've been where Aaron was. Maybe you've given your all and still felt invisible. Maybe people have replaced you, doubted you, or ignored you. But remember this, diamonds don't beg to be noticed. They shine quietly until the world can't ignore them anymore. You are not replaceable. You are not less just because someone else doesn't see your light. The power of knowing your worth is not arrogance, it's freedom. Freedom from needing permission to be proud of who you are. So, the next time someone makes you feel small, remember Aaron's words. You don't need their approval, you need your own belief. Life will test you. People will underestimate you. Some will walk away when you're struggling, but when you rise, and you will rise, and those same people will ask how you did it. And your answer should be simple. I stopped letting others define me. To everyone watching this, take this story as a sign. You are enough. Your value doesn't depend on who praises you or who ignores you. It depends on how deeply you believe in your own purpose. Don't let anyone replace you in your own story. Don't let temporary failure convince you that you are not meant for greatness. The world needs what only you can give. If Aaron's journey moved you today, if you felt a spark in your heart while listening, then it's time to take action. Don't just scroll past. Stand up for your worth. And if you believe in stories that awaken souls, that remind us who we really are, then hit the subscribe button now. Join Wordy Tales, where every story has the power to change a life, maybe even yours. Because remember, knowing your worth is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. When you finally know who you are, no one can replace you. And that's where your true power begins.